Our fifth speaker, Morgan McArthur. Stuck to a bucket. Stuck to a bucket, Morgan McArthur.
Believe me, the devil's domain is not a hot place. I know. I've been there. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, this is a story of a lesson I learned on a veterinary emergency call. My message is not about delivery of a new life, but it's about deliverance from an old life. It's about discovery of life anew when we let go of what holds us back. There's a tiny tumbleweed town called Ledore, Idaho that God has designated a winter misery test site. There the bitter wind blows and it drives the cold to the marrow of your bones. Bob called at midnight. He had a cow trying to have a calf. He needed a vet. In Ledore. At 20 degrees below zero in January, exposed flesh freezes in minutes. Now, I'm a cow obstetrician. When I get into my job, I generally get out of my clothes. So boldly and coldly, I shucked my shirt. Whoa! I shivered so my teeth were ivory jackhammers just pounding in my head. It's dark. I'm in a barn with no electrical power. There's a cow snubbed to a post with a rope, and back here is a cold cowboy aiming his flashlight. Poorly. Would you like to talk about a bad day at the office? I reached for the instrument bucket, forgot my hand was wet. Now here's a science quiz. True or false? Wet skin freezes fast to super cold metal. True! I was stuck to my bucket! I jerked myself free and I ripped the flesh from the palm of my hand. Blood dripped to the tips of my fingers. I was stuck to more than metal. 8 years of my life becoming a veterinarian. As a vet, I got to live where I wanted. I got to work with cowboys. It was satisfying. But part of my heart wasn't in it. And gradually, my days grew darker with discontent. Finally, a day came when I could see my choice didn't fit me anymore. My career had become a job. In a dark, cold barn, I realized I was stuck to a bucket. We all get stuck to buckets. We get stuck to comforts, lifestyles, retirement plans, contentment. We will chase comfort until we're miserable. I'd like to be happy, but I've got commitments. We get stuck to tired excuses. I do it, but I'm too old. I do it, but I'm not smart enough. I do it, but I never have time. But. If we don't get off those butts, we'll be forever frozen to a bucket. When we cease to be challenged or creative, or we're unhappy with our lot and we don't do something about it, we are frozen. Frozen because we're afraid to change. Frozen in a hell of our own choosing. Frozen alive. The devil's domain is not a hot place. And even if we're stuck to a bucket, we have a choice. Keep it or cast it away. Listen to the voice in your soul that says, live the life that you want. Have you heard it? Maybe you haven't. It's hard to hear. Until it's so loud you can't sleep. Or your guts are an inferno. Or there's a lump in your throat. Do you know that feeling? I do. When I was 23, I needed a physical exam to renew my pilot's license. And the doctor found a lump on my thyroid gland. 2 weeks later, he plucked a tumor, a malignant tumor, big as a Brussels sprout from the base of my neck. Now remember, I was 23. And that's close enough to my teenage years that my brains hadn't come in yet. I mean, I thought I was bulletproof. Oh, I worried about flying, not dying. Well, just last year, I had a neck problem once again. First, it was hard to swallow. Then it hurt to swallow. This time I wasn't bulletproof. This time I was scared. Tests, blood tests, hormone tests, radioactive scans, and no answers. My history had me by the throat, and I was frozen with fear. A specialist, a second opinion. He said there's good news and there's bad news. The good news is you don't have cancer. But the bad news is you've got a truckload of stress in your life. Woo! It wasn't cancer. But it was a wake-up call. It's been said that our vision of hell begins the moment we see what we could have done, but we never did. What could have been, but will never be. Is tomorrow guaranteed? Was I stuck to a bucket? I didn't have to stay in practice, so I quit. I freed myself from that bucket. And I stand on this platform today as testament to start of a pursuit of a brand new dream. Sure, I sacrificed skin. Sure, I felt pain. That's part of risking. Was it worth it? Absolutely. You see, the skin always grows back, and it grows back stronger. The devil's domain is not a hot place. In your lives, if you're ever in a place that's cold and dark and you feel frozen alive, it doesn't seem there's any power available. There is. The power is inside of you. It's your skin, your life, your choice. No one has to be stuck to a bucket.